wake up the morning fresh and bright. Ed and Amy lead the light. We gather hearts around the screen for love and hope to intervene. They share the word and spread the cheer. With every story, wipe a tear. Your faith is stronger every day. With Ed and Amy on the way. Prayer and share, it's time to unite. In every whisper and every light, join hands together, night or day. Ed and Amy show the way. From life's valleys to the peaks, they bring the strength that everyone seeks, lifting spirits up so high. With Ed and Amy by your side. Every prayer, every care, join in love with hearts so fair. Feel the joy that's in the air. With Ed and Amy we declare, oh, prayer and share, it's time to unite. In every whisper and every light, join hands together, night or day. Ed and Amy show the way.
There we are.
Well, there we are.
Ed and Amy showing the way. That's kind of pressure on us.
It is.
Yeah, it's kind of a little bit of pressure.
We went dark.
Yeah,
Oh, we're back.
I think if I full screen it, though, we won't be able to see the comments, and that is correct. All right. Well, welcome everyone. Prayer and share. Saturday night.
It's an odd night,
It is an odd night,
but that's okay.
we may have done a Saturday episode once or twice in our
I'm sure we have.
4+ years. We know we were doing them early on because we did them 7 days a week when we first came on.
Absolutely.
And I've already admitted that you were right about where we did those from, so I don't have to admit that
Say that again, because
Amy was
I
right.
wasn't here when you said that.
I was wrong. You were here because,
I wasn't here.
yes, you were.
Mm-mm.
You heard.
I was at work, so I wasn't here when you said that. So
Yeah.
where were we? Were what? I was what?
Well, let me tell the story now that, you know, we started Prayer and Share in 2000. That would be March the 18th of 2000, just as they shut the entire country down. Well, we moved here in September, which means from March until September, we were doing Prayer and Share at the old house, which is where Amy said we started it. And I said, no, we didn't. And Amy said,
Yes, we did.
yes, we did. And
Drum roll.
I had to admit, Amy was right. Amy was right. Oh, I hate to say that out loud.
Nah, that's a good thing.
That for you, that's probably what you want to start every podcast off
Every
with.
single podcast, we need to start out with Amy was right.
Well, Ed and Amy are right. Definitely not left.
Factual there.
That is a fact. We got a lot to talk about. We'll give it another minute or two because we want to tell you about how good our God is. But we want to make sure everybody's in here that wants to be, with it being a different night than normal. So,
Yeah, we fooled you all.
yeah, just couldn't bring it all together yesterday. Yesterday was a long
It was a long
day.
day. And oh my goodness, I hate Facebook because you can't go back and fix something because you can't see it.
Angel is in there.
Hi, Angel.
And she is moving to Queensville on Tuesday.
Oh, wow.
That's closer than Greensburg.
Yes, it is.
And she made me promise that when she got to Queensville that we would take her out to eat. And so she ain't letting us out of it.
We don't want out of it.
No, we don't want out of it. We want to see you. And I was thinking about your dad earlier this week. I miss your daddy. I know Angel probably realized that her dad, Don Stroud, my first cousin, passed away a year ago this past week. And so,
Mary, thank you for going and seeing Donna, but I can't put that on here because Facebook's making me mad right now. I'm trying, but it won't let me.
well, I'm going to send a text. Because I'm thinking that Donna will get the text.
Yeah, I think
but
you're
she
right.
might not remember or even known that we're going to do tonight. But there to the Father's house is the text. If you get a text right now, you don't have to look at it because that is what it was. So, what's been going on with you? Anything?
Work.
Work and home and work and home. And if either one of us have anything going on before you go to work, then it seems like we don't see each other the whole day.
Well, it doesn't seem like we've seen each other the whole weekend.
Well, on Tuesdays right now, I'm doing the senior Bible study at the senior center, which I used to be able to say that I don't qualify for, but
well, those days are long gone.
Those days are over, and I do qualify, but I'm not there as a member of the senior center because I am not, even though I could be. I go as the leader of the Bible study. They ask a different pastor to come in every month and do a month worth of Bible studies. And so,
oh, there's Donna
and Roberta and Angel and Macbeth and Bill and Tanya
and Mary
and Mary. Lots of people. So on Tuesdays, I go teach that at 10:30. And since we don't get to bed till between 1 and 2 in the morning, we don't get up until
right.
9 or 10 normally. And so I'm gone for that. And then it's time for Amy to go to
work.
Then Ed does Red, White, and True with Ronnie, or does a sports show, which I kind of had fun with that. It's just it's so laid back. I mean, there's nothing to get my blood pressure up or anything like that until the Cardinals play the Cubs. And too bad Megan isn't here, because if the Cubs were to happen to beat the Cardinals for some strange reason, then that makes me upset. It gets my
your blood to stirring.
Blood stirring.
I cannot type for nothing today.
I'm not sure why it says you're some long number and then it switches.
I don't know. It does that all the time. And it won't let me see what I'm typing. So I end up hitting something stupid and So
Well,
if I remark to somebody's comment and it comes out not making any sense, that's why. I can't see what I'm typing.
well, we're going to share about how good God is. I started to say was today.
Well, he
But
is all the time.
He
but
is all the time.
He
But
just gave us extra reason today to brag on him.
confirmation that he is as good as we think he is, and even better. If you live in this part of the world, you know that it's been raining for days.
Yeah, nonstop.
If you drive up 65, which we've done quite a bit the last couple of days, you see farm fields that are flood. All the rivers and streams or creeks are of
Can I have a drink of your drink? Sorry.
out of their banks, and it's only going to get worse. I don't think it's supposed to crest until tomorrow, and so I mean it's bad enough that there's churches that have already canceled Sunday service, and I know some people
Right.
are in here that's been the case.
Get your boats ready.
Um,
Where's Noah at when you need him?
yeah, this is a Christian show.
Absolutely.
We'll talk about Noah. God's shown us about Noah, but God also showed that when we pray, he says to us, ask and ye shall receive, seek and ye shall find, knock and the door will be opened. So I was scheduled to do a graveside service at 1 o'clock today for a lady who we know their son and daughter-in-law and grandson. And
Wonderful people.
it was supposed to be raining all day long. And we can tell you that it has gone from a very light mist until pouring down rain while we've been on the road today. So I decided not only was I going to pray, but I was going to pray for specifics. And my prayer was this: dear Lord, let the rain stop and clear off.
I think. Oh no, sorry. Go ahead.
At 12:55, knowing that our funeral starts at 1. Now, here was one of the catches of the funeral. If the wind was less than 20 miles an hour, and you know this week we've had plenty of wind that was above 20 miles an hour. If the wind was below 20 miles an hour, they could put the tent up. Above 20, no tent. Well, let me just tell you, come 1 o'clock, even the mist had stopped, which it was misting about 5 till. The mist had stopped. The way I know is that some people backed up out of the tent
Right.
into where they would have been getting wet, because I was under the tent. And don't let me forget to tell what would have been the most hilarious story in the history of mankind.
Okay.
You agree.
Yeah.
But I know that's the case. And there was virtually no wind.
Right.
One time out of about 15 minutes of standing there, I had to push one of the pages of my Bible down. That's how I know that there was no wind.
Yep.
So I've got things that verify that I'm not just making this up. And so, you know, at first I thought, oh man, being that specific, God knows what time the funeral is. I could have just prayed, but I just felt like God was saying, you asked me for a time, and I got it covered.
And he did.
And
Plus some.
I got to share that with everybody that was there. And I'm sharing it with you. I've shared it with some people by text message and messenger. And so God is good. God is good. And it's okay to ask for specific things, because
Absolutely.
God can say no. He might not want to do that at all, but he also likes us to see what he's capable of. If I mean, there's severe flooding going on. As I said, some churches have canceled church already, and so there is severe flooding going on. So
Right.
to ask God to stop the rain long enough for us to have a graveside service,
And it was so muddy and so wet. And if it'd been raining, it would have been really miserable out there.
it definitely would have been. Um, so actually, it was so wet that they didn't even set the tent and everything up where the casket was
Right.
going to be buried. They
Right.
set it up right next to the road where it was level, and most of it had at least gravel and some
Right.
concrete or asphalt. And they brought the casket in and they set it there.
Well, they had the vault setting,
Right.
and then that's where they.
Yep. They When we were done, they were going to put the lid, they were going to lower the casket, put the lid on the vault, and then they have a carrier that they can take and move the vault on the carrier.
Right.
So that pallbearers, whoever that are carrying, won't slip and fall.
Well, if you remember, that's how they moved Donnie's, because his was way out.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that? And they moved his that way.
They did.
Yeah.
So I'm standing at the head of the casket and I'm underneath the tent. But it's been raining for a lot of days. And anywhere you stepped that wasn't rock or asphalt, it squished. I mean, water came to the surface. And so just to the right of the tent, which would have been directly behind me, started a hill. Now, it wasn't a big hill, but it was enough of a hill that you wouldn't have wanted to slide down it in the mud.
And you could have very easily.
The lady that we knew there almost did. She was standing talking to Amy afterwards, and she did something and her foot started down the hill. A lady grabbed her. Amy grabbed the picture she knocked over and the easel all before they hit the ground.
Yeah,
she was like Superwoman.
Well, it was just reflexes, really. It just was like, I barely saved the picture frame. It was a big picture
but she
frame.
did. But I said later that I stood where I did intentionally because I was worried that if I got anywhere close to that hill, even at the bottom of the hill was where water was rushing to, that my feet would have went out from under me and that I would have been butt first playing in the mud, and that Amy would have never let me live that down.
I don't know why I got the blame for that.
Well, you didn't get a blame because
it didn't happen.
Yeah, because it didn't
happen.
happen.
It happened, I would have been blamed.
Well, you wouldn't have cared because you'd have been laughing so hard. So I'm telling her this later, and she says, I would laugh forever.
Well,
because when I was telling the gentleman who we knew about that,
it was his mother.
Yeah, his mother. And I told him about that. He said, well, she might have waited until later on after she's seen that you were okay. What was your response?
No, I wouldn't have. I couldn't have helped myself. I would have just lost it right
Just
then.
see, when I read this, I actually thought that this was going to be Tanya that said that. Guarantee she would never let you forget.
No,
and
I would not.
She laughed so hard just thinking about the possibility.
I mean, it would have been an endless joke.
Yeah,
it
forever.
literally would have been I couldn't have helped myself.
I believe her response was, I would have peed right on the
I
spot.
probably would have right then and there. It would have, and nobody would have known because everything else was wet.
I could have come and just hugged you with all the mud on me.
You wouldn't have.
No, we would have seen you run. Beth would have paid to see that.
I agree. It would. I actually have my phone right there. I would have been clicking pictures off like crazy. I'd have posted them puppies on every page and every.
But see, now it's all just hypothetical. And you can laugh,
Darn it.
you know, I won't get my feelings hurt because it didn't happen. I might have been a little different if it had happened. And
Every social media, I would come up with a social media to post it on.
Amy book.
I would. I would. I'm telling you.
Well, think about this. After I got down, you know how hard it would have been to have gotten up.
Yeah, because you'd have been laughing too.
Oh yeah, I would have.
I'd have
So-
pushed you back down so I could take some more.
Hold on.
I'm not done.
I'm not done taking
Not
pictures.
done.
Well, from there we went and we visited our dear friend Donna, who is
Danny said her video.
Yeah.
Boy.
Donna is in here, and Donna has not been well, and we are we're going to wish her well. We've prayed for her over and over. We left her hospital room and prayed for her before we left, and we then went to Olive Garden for lunch, and it was very good. Amy was Amy, and
Who else would I be?
well, nobody. But when the guy came with the cheese thing, you know, the rolls it like a fishing rod, a reel. He came with the salad, and he said, "I don't have very much left." And I said, "Well, that's bad. She's a cheeseaholic." And he said, "I'm glad you told me. I'll load up before I come back." He comes back, and the cheese is about that far hanging above
Above the grater.
above the grater, all that was inside it and about that much more. And so we had a good time.
He didn't have much left when he left again. First time he used all he had.
Yeah.
Second time he had not very much left when he left. He said, "You do like cheese." I said, "Well, if it weren't for making you stand here a little longer, I'd make you stand here a little longer."
Dean's in here. Hello, Dean.
What's that, Dean?
Tell your lovely wife, Ella, we love her.
Absolutely.
We like you okay, too.
Yeah, you'll do.
When we left, it was pouring down.
Yes.
So much that
When we left Olive Garden. It
Yeah,
wasn't-
when we
not
left
when we
Olive-
left the cemetery.
Amy had to pull out so that I didn't have to swim
Yeah.
to get in the Jeep.
It was definitely high water.
Yeah. And so, seeing as how we mentioned a funeral that I was at, I wanted to read something to you that I read today.
Oh, this is so sweet.
I won't, well, it's in the paper, so that means it's not private.
Right. Yeah, but this is awesome. This is such a sweet thing.
I won't even give you any introduction other than this was the opening part of an obituary. And the obituary is from Norman's Funeral Home in Hope. And it says, Dorothy's obituary. My mom's name was Dorothy. She was nice. She loved me. I loved her. Mom cleaned houses and worked at a nursing home to help me. Me and Mom used to work together. Mom liked music. Mom was funny. We had fun together. Mom was born on January the 25th. Mom kept our house clean. Me and Mom liked to go places together. Mom liked to eat hamburgers. She liked to eat at Chili's and go to Dairy Queen. She liked to shop at Walmart. We liked to walk together. I love my mom. I miss her. These words were expressed by Cheryl Moffett, Dorothy Moffat's daughter. I believe they are from the Hope area, but the lady passed at Arbor Grove Village in Greensburg. But how sweet of a tribute that was.
Isn't that awesome?
That this, I don't know, she probably isn't young. The lady, I believe, was
she was born in 43.
43, so that's 3 years young. She over 80. 80, she should be 82 because she was born in January. 82 years old, so her daughter probably isn't too
Not
young.
too young.
And I told Amy, I said, that tells me that that lady lived a good life, that her child wrote that about her as part of the obituary. That, I mean, I'm reading it to you here now because it just, I've never seen anything like that. And I hope that the pastor who did the funeral read that out loud to I'm sure they did.
I hope so. For some reason, I'm not getting any comments now. I don't know why, but
Well, just look off of here. Well, last week, I forget which day it was, I had it was this Monday, I think. Whenever, I had the pleasure of interviewing Drew Wren, and there is an introduction for the video that I have here, and I'm going to play for you guys.
Available now, reunited 11 years after their first interview, Pastor Ed Boston talks with Drew Wren, a contestant on American Idol, about her experiences so far in the competition and what we can expect. She also shares the consistent factor that continues to drive her career and life. You guessed it, her faith in Jesus. Stream the interview now, part of the Ed Boston podcast.
Now, if you've not seen the interview, I would highly encourage you to go to one of my social media sites and check it out. What did you think?
I thought it was a great interview.
She was so bubbly and excited and happy that she was able to be a part of that. When I interviewed her 11 years ago, she had just been eliminated from the contest show X Factor. And she was on Team Simon Cowell. She was wonderful back then, and there is a video of her after she was eliminated, and she was crying, and it showed Simon comforting her and arm around her and being a father figure. Simon has had a reputation for a long time as being the grouchy old crusty judge.
Yeah.
But if you started watching him, I don't know, it's been several years ago now, he became much more compassionate, especially toward young people. And
sorry, let me shut this up.
Yeah, make it go away.
I'd like to rip it off the wall.
So there's also a different clip that I have and have had for a while that was Drew talking about getting ready for last week's show, which was Hollywood Week. Let's take a look at this.
Tomorrow is the day I leave for Hollywood. So hello, future people from the past, because this is being pre-taped. My flight is at 7 a.m., so I'm trying to get this done so I can get to bed at 8 o'clock. Good night, golden ticket. How am I gonna sleep tonight? Good morning. It's 3 a.m. and Dylan and I are getting ready for the airport. I got a spray tan last night. It was 19 degrees. These are spicy street taco flavored and they're stuffed. It actually tastes like a taco. I just got some on my pants. I made it to Hollywood! We officially just wrapped up. I really hope I make it. I'm feeling super nervous.
So Drew is a fan favorite. She got a golden ticket that got her from the audition round straight to Hollywood. And I don't have this downloaded, but she posted a behind the scenes video of, there must be, well, in the interview, she said that there were hundreds of contestants. And they sat through 2 full days of auditions. They had to set in, they didn't know what number. They called your name, you went up.
Right.
So it wasn't like, well, you're number 32 or something like that. When they called your name, you went up. But she showed in the video that she took a backstage, and there were dozens and dozens and dozens of people standing around, and they were singing a Christian song together.
Oh, wow.
And it was pretty awesome. So, we don't always cover things like American Idol. It's not always our cup of tea, but we've in the past supported Christians who are a part of that. If some might remember several years ago when Darcy Lynn won America's Got Talent, there was actually 3 different Christian young ladies that we interviewed during that period of time, and we called them our AGT3. It was Darcy Lynn, it was Angelica Hale, and it was, I can see her face, and her dad, Evie Claire. Evie Claire.
Yeah.
Now, and actually, they got 1st, 2nd, and 7th, I believe, was what they got for the 3 of them. So support Drew if you get a chance. I know some of you actually have talked about tuning in to American Idol to see her. If you get a chance, check her out. Go to her social media. I don't think she has X, but I know that she at least has a Facebook fan page on Facebook. You can find that where I made comments on the videos of the interview, and there's a link to her Facebook on there. So we had fun with that, didn't we?
Yeah, it was fun.
Let's continue moving on.
And we felt really close to Evie Claire because of her dad going through his colon cancer. My dad had colon cancer, and he survived. Unfortunately, her dad did not. And I just felt so bad for her because she was going through all those emotions while she was
On the show.
While she was on that show.
And one of my very favorite interviews, and I'm going to guess I've done somewhere around 100. I may be off. I'm usually off, but
I was going to say, boy, howdy.
I may be off on the number, but I've done a substantial number of interviews. And I think I interviewed Evie, I know twice, maybe 3 times. And one of the times her dad was there. He actually worked a long way into his cancer journey. And he was actually still working at that time, but was ill that day,
Yeah.
and I actually asked if it was okay if I talked to him, and he got on. And so I interviewed Evie Claire and her father on one
Yeah.
podcast, and it ranks right up there at the very top.
Yeah.
With 2 or 3, 4 others as my favorite. And I played a repeat performance of that and dedicated it to Amos and in his memory, and made sure that Evie and her mother, who
And her brother.
I still am in contact with,
Yeah.
and her brother. So, yeah, we've made a lot of good friends through interviews, and that's been a special part of my podcast history. Let's look a little bit at some of the things that are in Christian entertainment lately. The King of Kings, you've seen a video advertising that earlier.
Yep.
An upcoming animated film, The King of Kings, is set to premiere in theaters April the 7th. So I guess that would be Monday. This South Korean production offers a unique portrayal of the life of Jesus Christ, narrated by Charles Dickens to his son Walter. The film features a distinguished voice cast, including Kenneth Branagh as Dickens, Oscar Isaac as Jesus, Pierce Bronson as Pontius Pilate, Mark Hamill as King Herod. Critics have noted the film's attempt to blend biblical narratives with humor, though some feel comedy elements may detract from the solemn themes. Get over yourselves.
It's for children. It's
Get over yourselves.
yeah. I saw a man that went and saw it and gave his, I don't know what they call, I mean, it's a review of the movie. And he said he had 3 pluses and 1 negative. And so he told what the 3 best pluses were. And they were all wonderful. I mean, they were really, really good. And he said, and now I get to tell the negative. And he said, my negative is that I haven't taken my children to see it yet. That was the only negative he could have, is that he hadn't taken his children to see it. He said it was absolutely wonderful. And he said, I cannot wait till I can take my kids to go see it.
Next on the list, the 5th season of The Chosen, titled Last Supper, currently released in theaters in 3 parts leading up to Easter. Part 1, covering episodes 1 and 2, premiered last week, and we saw that and loved that. And we went with Bill and Tanya and Troy and Sonia and loved it. Part 2, I'm not seeing whether it was released or not. What I saw said part 1 was still in the theater, but yesterday part 2 was supposed to be released. Part 2 includes episodes 3, 4, and 5. And then after those 2, April 20th will be part 3, and that's episodes 6 through 8. They'll be available in theaters through April the 20th, and following that run, all 8 episodes will be streaming on, where does it say? It's Amazon Plus. Yeah, Amazon Plus. There it is, Amazon Prime, not Plus. I knew there were. That's
didn't
where
sound right.
Yeah, it'll be exclusive on there after April the 20th. It'll be there for 90 days. Amazon Prime is a paid subscription, so for those that want want to see it for free, after 90 days on Amazon Prime, it'll be accessible on the Chosen's official website. If all 8 episodes is good as 1 and 2 in part 1, then we're in for some kind of a huge
Yeah, some kind of a huge, because oh my goodness. Yeah. I'm ready to see 1 and 2 again.
Part 1 grossed $5 million on day 1.
Wow.
That wasn't the whole weekend.
Wow.
On day 1. Scheduled for Good Friday next year is the sequel to The Passion of the Christ, titled Resurrection.
Wow, that gave me cold chills.
Resurrection is slated for release on Good Friday next year. Directed by Mel Gibson, the film brings back original cast members, including Jim Caviezel as Jesus. The narrative will cover events leading up to the resurrection, delving into the intrigues within Herod's palace and culminating with the events of Easter Sunday. Filming took place in Israel, Morocco, and Italy. And I've seen where Mel Gibson funded the entire thing.
Wow.
When you do that, you don't have to answer to other people.
Absolutely.
You make
not.
it exactly the way you want. And that's the way Mel Gibson does in movies.
And God's going to bless him abundantly.
It's just amazing.
Absolutely.
Well, he's obviously blessed him since the Passion until now, that he has enough money to fund a major motion picture.
Absolutely. That's no cheap project.
Well, I don't know how it compares, but when we talked about Snow White,
Right.
the modern one, it was $274 million, I think.
And that's just insanity.
I don't know in comparison what it would cost to finance Resurrection, but boy, I sure am excited about when it comes into play.
Well, yeah.
Let me look and see. I've got some other videos. Well, there's Debbie Slaybaugh. We saw her
I
today.
absolutely did.
We saw her today. Here is how Disney used to make films long before Disney was woke.
The Lord is good to me, and so I thank the Lord for giving me the things I need, the sun and rain and an apple seed. Yes, He's been good to me. I owe the Lord so much for everything I see. I'm certain if it weren't for Him, there'd be no apples on this limb. He's been good to me. Oh, here am I neath the blue, blue sky, a-doing as I please, singing with my feathered friends, humming with the bees. I wake up every day as happy as can be, because I know that with His care my apple trees, they will still be there. Oh, the Lord is good to me.
Back when Walt was doing things. Isn't that amazing?
That is amazing. And I remember watching that.
And I don't think told you the other day, we didn't go to movies when I was
Right.
a kid. So even one that would be a very, very good one.
But they showed that on TV.
Well,
on
Wide
Sunday
World of
night,
Disney.
and right.
Wonderful World.
Yeah,
of
Wonderful
Disney.
World of Disney.
And we did watch things there. I don't remember seeing that. It wasn't, well, I ain't gonna make excuses for my parents. We didn't go to the movie theater. but we did watch Wonderful World of Disney on
Yep.
television. And when I played that, I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And now we're not even going to complain about Snow White. We've done that enough.
Oh,
They've suffered their misery. And that girl will probably have a hard time ever getting a job in Hollywood again. So, and
Well-
I'm not praying that for her, but that's legitimate. And if she does, I'm sure she'll be typecast into, like the Wicked Witch of the West or something to that nature.
it was 1935, Dean said. I remember that.
It may have been originally made in 1935.
Oh,
No,
what
actually-
was that? He said 1935. Well,
Actually, Snow White was 1937, I think, is what I've read. So
the original?
yeah, the original. So he might have been what he was talking about. Ella's in here now. Hi, Ella.
Hi,
Look forward to
Ella.
seeing you at church tomorrow.
Absolutely.
I got some more things. Not going to get into politics too terribly much tonight, but
Yeah, that's a Tuesday night thing.
yeah, it's a Tuesday night thing, but
Can't take Ronnie's job away from him. He's too good at it.
well, I wanted to share, and let's see if I can share it here. I couldn't download it for some reason, but I think I can share my screen with it.
Well, that's got to be good with the two of them in it.
There, let me go back and share the screen. Now, this is one of Amy's favorite people, one of my favorite people. Oh, what happened?
I don't know.
Let's hit the back button.
Yeah.
And get Sheriff Lamb back. Or not.
Wow. We got to get Sheriff Lamb back.
All right.
He'll always be Sheriff Lamb.
Yes, he will.
One of the notable lines from the speech last night was when President Trump said that Democrats kept saying that we need legislation to secure the southern border. Turns out what we really needed was just a new president. So what did you think about this speech through the lens of?
I guess we'll just get the audio part of this. I've not had that happen ever.
Yeah, we don't even get to look at him.
One of the notable lines from the speech last night was when President Trump said that Democrats kept saying that we need legislation to secure the southern border. Turns out what we really needed was just a new president. So what did you think about this speech through the lens of what you're seeing on the ground there in Arizona?
I thought the speech was awesome. And that was probably one of the best lines of the night. He had a lot of good ones, but that was one of the best ones because that is the truth. What we did was switch out the president, and immediately we have the best border that we've had in a long time, in decades ever. They're seeing the best numbers ever. We're seeing Mexico come to the table. We're seeing the actual American families who were affected by this mass importation of illegals from the previous administration. We're seeing those families actually being honored for their sacrifice and for what their loss. And so, look, I loved it. I think that people across this country loved it. And I thought it was shameful that the Democrats wouldn't pay enough respect to those families to stand up. Their hate for Donald Trump was oozing out of them last night. And I think the American people took notice.
One of the notable lines from the speech.
So, you know, the main reason I played that was because it was Sheriff Lamb. And as Amy said, he'll always be sheriff. You know, he
Absolutely.
ran for Senate against Carrie Lake, and he lost to her, and then she lost in the general election. But had he even been Senator Lamb, he would have always been sheriff.
Always.
And if you
He's
want
a wonderful man.
if you want somebody that knows the real deal about the border,
Yeah.
that's who you would go talk to.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's a wonderful man. His wife is an amazing woman. They're outstanding Christians. Their faith is so strong. I cannot imagine going through what they have gone through and having the strength to do it like they did. I mean, they've gone through so much.
Well, explain a little bit.
Well, their son had some addiction issues, and they dealt with that for years. He was clean for a long time, and was engaged to be married to a girl, and they loved her. They loved her to death. And the son and the future daughter-in-law had a little girl, and they were head over heels. Sheriff Lamb and his wife were head over heels in love with their granddaughter. Bragged on her, had her in their lives all the time, just loved this little girl to death. And one day, they were the father, mother, and Sheriff Lamb's son, and his fiance and the baby were together, and were hit by a drunk driver. And the son and the grandbaby were killed instantly, and the fiance was critically wounded and was lifelined and put into the hospital on a ventilator. And Sheriff Lamb and his wife had to grieve the loss of the son and granddaughter, but still be there for their future daughter-in-law. And they had to bury the son and the granddaughter and still be there for the daughter-in-law. So 5 days after the accident, the daughter-in-law passed away. And so now they're grieving 3 people. And they were invited to speak at a MAD banquet, the Mothers Against Drunk Drivers. And when they found out what their feelings were on right to life and what their feelings were on gun control, Sheriff Lamb had everything ready to go and speak. It was like the night before. MAD found out what his political views were, and MAD called him and said, "We don't need you.
You're uninvited."
Yeah, and uninvited him to speak at this banquet. And I'm not thinking that because his political views on gun control and right to life have anything to do with drunk driving and the death of his family. I don't think that had anything to do with it.
No.
And his Christian values, nothing to do with a drunk driver hitting and killing his family. But MAD said, "We don't need you. You're uninvited to come and speak." So they kind of showed their true colors, that what they really think is okay and what they don't.
Well, we've got one more short video, and then we will do the prayer list. But I wanted to put in a commercial for Red, White, and True
You
coming
can't
up
get away
Tuesday.
from commercials.
At least I'm promoting us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Red, White, and True, Tuesday night at 7. One of the things that we're going to focus on, and there are so many videos out right now of the hypocrisy of the liberal loony left. And I'm not talking about our regular liberal Looney Tunes where it's all funny. There is a bunch of hypocritical things that liberals have said in the past that they were for, that they supported, that their president supported, and now those same topics are in your face and they are totally against them. Got video proof to show you numerous short videos. So we're going to take some serious time on exposing the hypocrisy. It's so bad that I even posted posted on my personal Facebook page, which I have intentionally stayed away from since November, posting about politics, because I know what I believe. Most people that know me know what I believe. And so I've stayed away. But there's a short video. We'll replay it on Tuesday, but it is Barack Obama talking about what happens if you enter our country illegally. And my comments on it was not okay for current POTUS, President of the United States. I don't care what side you are on, but all politicians should be held to the same standards. I've been quiet about politics on here since November, but I'm sick to death of double standards. And so we're going to go into that hot and heavy on Tuesday.
Yeah, double standards are, but they'll come up with some reason why it was okay for their side to think that that's okay, but not okay for our side.
I'm going to guess, not guess, but almost know that Beth has already seen the next video, but it's too good not to share with you.
You were still attending your church services from space.
Right.
Can you tell me a bit about why that was important for you to do?
Well, goodness, the Word of God continually infilling me. I need it. My pastors are the finest pastors on or off, in this case, the planet. And to tie in and to worship with my church family was vital. I mean, it's part of what makes me go. Life is our life, all of our lives are bound up in many things. For me, and it's faith in my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. He is the end-all, be-all. He forgives us. He teaches us when His Word says about being content in all situations because He's working out His plan and His purposes for His glory and our good. And I believe that because the Bible says that. And that's the message that I lived. We lived it. My family lived it. We taught them these things throughout their lives. And that's contentment. It doesn't mean always happy. It doesn't mean there's no pain. But content and knowing that God's in control, sovereign God's in control, working out His plan and His purpose. And you might say, well, goodness, that wasn't a very good thing. God did that. Well, He's working out His plan and His purpose. I mean, who's lived a life without pain? I mean, no one. That's the nature of existence. Who's lived a life without sorrow? Who's lived a life without challenges? It grows us, we learn from it, and that's the focus that I try to take from it. What's the Lord trying to show?
Smart man.
That was good, wasn't
Absolutely good.
it?
Beth said, you betcha she's seen it.
Another instance of God showing out. And what a testimony he has
absolutely.
now. And you know, when you think about, well, they could have just stayed, you know, they had supplies and they could get supplies into them. But
by UPS or what?
no, they could send things by UPS. Well, it wouldn't be the postal service.
Well, they deliver everywhere, don't they? FedEx.
We FedEx them some food.
Right? Oh, I know.
But
Sonia delivered it by Grubhub or whatever it is.
DoorDash.
DoorDash. I know. Sonia delivered
Now, I'm
DoorDash.
betting Bill and Tanya just cracked up at that.
Well, the woman DoorDashes all the time, so I'm sure she. Amazing.
by Dragon and Elon. Actually, SpaceX has something that was able to deliver. SpaceX owned by Elon Musk. So,
Amazon.
but actually, the point I was trying to get to with that was, even though they had things to sustain them, physically,
Right.
their bodies, and they will probably live with certain things that is wrong with their bodies, because your muscles and all kind of with gravitational pull.
Well, yeah, I'm sure they've got some atrophy from not using muscles.
And I'm not, knowledgeable enough on that topic to talk, but they could only last there so long.
Right.
And the thing is that they could have and should have been brought back long before they ever was. It's another one of those, we just needed a new president to make that happen.
Well, I know that the woman had bad hair day every day she was on there, so that wasn't good. Her hair stood straight up every day.
Yeah, it would be
even worse than mine.
It would be like me being under there and the cross and all those other things being my hair.
Yeah, exactly.
There right there.
Absolutely.
So
even worse than my hair looks every day. She had a bad hair day every day. So
see, yeah, Beth is the local expert on this topic when it comes to space.
They had to wait on flight suits for SpaceX. Wow. Yeah, see, I would have had no, but they had to have some atrophy going on with their muscles not working all those months.
Yeah, I read a good article about that. And one of the things that it said was that there will probably be parts of the physical stress on their bodies that they'll live with for the rest of their life.
And that's sad. I mean, that's sad. They should have had Sonia deliver them some more DoorDashes and they'd been okay. More muscle building powders and stuff.
Let me see, get to my prayer list. Where did it go? There it is.
The circle with the big cross in the middle.
Yeah, but I get mixed up when somehow my app icons are moved. I know where they all are and it moved.
Did you add some?
Probably.
Yeah, there you go. You only got 4 million of them.
That's true. So our prayer list, and we're an hour and 3 minutes in, but this is the reason we started Prayer and Share was the prayer list. And so the first 6 or so is something that we always pray about. They're specific topics. Pray for the church that was founded by Jesus Christ, the church that preaches the Bible from Genesis to, I almost said Exodus, Genesis to Revelation. Genesis and Exodus are good, but kind of need the rest of it.
Yeah, you need the rest.
Kind of need the rest of the story. Pray for our country and our elected leaders, appointed leaders, state leaders, local leaders, school boards, all of those folks. For the persecution of Christians around the world. And I need to focus on that sometime real soon, because there is plenty to cover on that. For pastors and Christian leaders, pray for us pastors. We have a lot on our plate. And
like falling down a muddy hill.
Yeah, we can fall down a muddy hill right in front of everybody. And some people that were there, if they don't go to church, they'd think, well, the only thing I know about a pastor is I seen one fall down the hill and get all muddy. Law enforcement leaders, the Thin Blue Line, first responders, the military, all those that protect and serve on a daily basis.
And right now, the first responders are having a rough time with all these floods and people being stupid and crossing in waters that they shouldn't be crossing in. And I mean, they're having to waste resources chasing, trying to rescue people that have been in cars that crossed floodwaters that should never have been crossed and now they're having to be rescued. So
So other people have to put their lives on the line to
absolutely,
rescue them.
absolutely.
And remind me the next time we do prayer and share, let's just do it in front of your.
Yeah, this ain't working.
Yeah, it's. I'm not liking it, and I
Yeah,
was
I'm not
hoping
either.
hoping it wasn't showing up on there, but
It is.
it is.
Yeah.
And so we'll save the backdrops for red, white, and true.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead. Bill and Tanya asked us to please pray for their son Caleb, his mother's side of the family. My son Caleb's mother's side of the family. His grandfather passed away last night. His name is Gene Kelsey. I think that is Bill's son, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And we can definitely do that. Allison, Annie, my Aunt Pat and her husband Chuck, Betsy Teal, Bobby Howell, Bobby McNicholas, and we've seen Donna so much that we've been getting plenty of Bobby updates, and
Yeah.
not necessarily just updates, but the way things are with him in his life right now in the nursing home. Brent Wallace, Casey Pearson, Sharif, Cindy Crace. I read a long update from her last week when we did prayer and share. Her cancer is back and she is getting ready for a massive amount of radiation and chemotherapy treatments. Connie Gwynn, Curtis, Danelle Heck, Denise, who is Megan's mom. Megan asked us to pray for her too.
We love Maggie.
We do. Dennis Harmison, and I need to check on him. He was, if you remember, waiting on heart surgery, and insurance was getting in the way, and doctors weren't wanting to do the surgery because of insurance, and they sent him home to get some strength back because he'd been in the hospital so long waiting. So I need to check on him. Donald Middlebrooks. We have prayed for Donald for several weeks now. He had his larynx removed, the entire thing. And I don't think I copied and pasted that. Yeah, I didn't. Let me go over here real quick and get to what he said. There it is. On Tuesday, he messaged me. I had a visit with my surgeon today. He got the cancer, but found 3 different cancers. Found a different cancer, not 3 different cancers, a different cancer, thyroid. Operation in 3 months. I'm in good spirits, Ed, and I praise God and always will. And so we'll keep praying for Donald as long as he needs our prayers. And we'll believe in his healing.
Absolutely.
Because if God can shut up the rains with a specific request of a time, God can take care of thyroid cancer the same way he took care of the cancer of his larynx. So
absolutely,
we're going to believe that that is going to happen. Donna Brady and family, they're going to start a nursing home over at Donna's house because Donna was walking with a walker and a cane, not at the same time, but I should have said or a cane.
or, but not but.
And Lee is home and he walks with a walker.
Yeah.
So if Donna didn't fall asleep and is still with us, see what she thinks of my idea of starting a nursing home over at her house. Ed Bates, Evie, still for the hurricanes and all of the fires, the wildfires, response to those. I seen where Samaritan's Purse this week, I get regular texts from them, and one this week was about people to go back to LA for recovery efforts from the LA fires, which has been a couple months back.
Yeah.
And so they're still needing help there, as well as every place else that has been a major year for disasters.
Yes, it has been.
Janet Miller, Jason Ray Welch, Jay Darnell, Jeannie, Jerry, that's from Beth, Jill Garris, John, Jordan, Judy, Julia, Kyle, Lee, and Lee Taylor, and Lee Mathis, Linda Kuhn. We went to see her not this week, but late last week, wasn't it? Or
Yeah.
was
It was,
last Saturday, maybe.
yeah, it was the Saturday.
So since we've been back on here, and she was in bed, and usually when that's the case, she doesn't wake up, but she did wake up.
Yeah.
And was kind of coherent while she talked with us. She didn't say a whole lot.
Yeah, she didn't talk a whole lot when has been in bed.
But
she did talk a little.
Linda Post, Loretta, Randy's sister, was back in the hospital. From where we originally prayed for her, she had gone home, but Thursday night he said she was back in the hospital. So continue to pray for her. Loretta Stanley. Marcy got good news. Let's see what it says. She has an aortic aneurysm, but it's not big enough to be overly concerned about.
Right.
So we'll just pray that it doesn't grow any bigger, and then they won't have to worry about it. God's got it under control.
Yeah.
Always has and always will. Marlene, Marvin Wright, Mary Bailey and her family, Marianne Cunningham, Mason. I like when Donna talks about Mason.
She kind of lights up a little bit.
Yeah, she gets a little bit of a glow to her. And I forget what she was even talking about today, but she mentioned him.
The remote.
Oh, yeah. About him losing her remote. And his remote
and
first.
His.
And Melissa, Michelle, Nadine, Travis, Pam, Praying Boy Preston. I need to get a hold of his grandpa and just see what's going on in their lives. He retired as a pastor.
Oh, wow. You're not retiring. I'd have to put up with you every day. Oh, wait a minute. I have to put up with you every day anyway.
Patty, Penny, Randy, Rick, Rob Gaskell. And did you have an update on him?
Yeah, he's not doing real well. He's had to move to a assisted living, and he's just not doing very good.
Roy Weber, Sheridan Phil Harker, Shay Michaelonis, Sheila, not Sheila, Celia. Say it.
Well,
Sheila
Napier, except you're not even on there. So
some words are just hard for me to say. Sis, Steve Stepp, Sue Foley. Probably move her down to the secondary list because she's been home for a while. Terry Kutzko, Tony, Tyler, two Unspokens, Victor Jr. He told us he was going to a new job.
yes.
And we didn't get to talk to him anymore that day, and so we'll check that out. Victor Marks, Yvonne Hudson, all of our unspoken requests, all of our secondary list requests, anything that you've given me recently that I didn't get on here, keep reminding me. That's the best way to do it. Just, hit me up numerous times if it's necessary.
Debbie and Kevin and their family.
Yes, the Slaybaugh family.
And they're extended.
And when we seen,
Yeah.
This lady was from now until July short of 90 years old. She would have been 90 in July. And she was a great, great grandmother. And I
5
would,
generations.
I always think that is amazing when there's 5 generations.
When I had Ronnie, there were 5 generations on both sides.
That's cool.
And I had a great grandma Schutte and a great grandma Ziegler. I didn't have a great grandma Kuhn, but there were 5 generations on, well, two different ways on my mom's side, and then just a great grandma on my dad's side.
Cool. Cool. Anything else you'd like us to pray for? Again, Caleb's family on the passing of his grandfather, Gene Kelsey. Father in heaven, we thank you for allowing us to be here tonight and to do what we love to do. We love sharing good news. We love bragging about you, Father, because you are worthy to be praised. We lift up each of the requests, and Father, prayer is the most important part of what we do. But your word tells us that you know what we were going to pray for before we ever even ask. So you know each of the situations, and you know exactly who needs what, who needs a healing, who needs a miracle. And there's miracles, Father, that need to be done. And there are miracles that are happening, and we're thankful for that. Father, we thank you for our churches and our ministry, for Old Union, for the Father's House, for Come As You Are Ministries. We're still part of there, even though we're not there very often. We still love them and pray the best for that congregation as well. For our online ministry and our podcasts, we have so many different ones now, Father, that we'll just shine a Christian light, the light of Christ, on those who come and pray, Father, that you would help us to be the best example of that light that we can be. Thank you for my wife. Thank you for the time we get to spend together when she's off work. And Father, I just ask your blessings upon her health. And Father, I pray that if it's your will for her to be able to move out of what she does now, that you would make a way and show us that way. And we lift all of this up in Jesus' holy name. Amen. All right. Well, we had a nice crowd of people. Interested to see what the numbers say on.
Do you mean we had a big crowd of people, or were they nice?
Yes.
Oh, okay. He's sucking up. You're saying they were nice?
Well, I've been learning how to suck up from other people.
Evidently you have. You've been working on that.
And those that know what I'm talking about will know, and everybody else will just have to guess.
They just have to guess at that.
Or come to Bible study on Thursday nights.
Sucking up in Bible study works, though, because we had some amazing taco soup.
We have amazing snacks. We're to the point where how are we going to continue to top?
I don't know, but Amber's got to work hard on topping that and doing her homework, because, man, she's really sucking up to the teacher.
Yeah, we used to just say snacks, but the last 2 weeks we had chili one week, and there was more than just chili. There was some kind of sandwiches or something, sliders.
Oh yeah, those ham
Lunch
and cheese
meat,
sliders.
yeah.
Oh man.
And then this week we had taco soup, which was amazing. I don't see Doug or Amber in here tonight. Being a Saturday night, they're probably out on the town.
Probably. They probably went to a rodeo or, something fun.
Some derby dinner playhouse.
Yeah, Doug don't let the grass grow under his feet very much.
I gotta admire them. They live a retired life that people
dream about.
Dream about.
Yes.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
So
But
Thursday
they're so
nights,
fun.
yes, they are fun. Hopefully we'll be back on our regular night Friday this coming week for prayer and share. Old Union is at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, and every Sunday morning, come at 9:30 and you can get a donut.
Yeah. Or like last week, we had breakfast pizzas.
Yeah, but we
And
don't
they
want
were great.
to promise that.
Yeah. That's not every Sunday.
Tanya said Doug went to a boat show. There you go.
Go figure. How'd you know that?
She follows him, I'm sure. The Father's house tomorrow night at 6 o'clock.
He went to go buy one because everything's flooded.
Yeah, probably so. He went. Oh, maybe that was just a joke. He went to a boat show for the flood.
He thinks he's Noah.
Yeah, we got plenty of names for Doug. We can just add that one to it. Noah.
Noah. Well, that's kind of funny because Amber's always saying, I know a guy. Because when she had that crock pot carrier, she said, I know a guy. I know a guy.
And she's usually talking about Doug.
Yeah, she's always talking about, there you go. She knows a guy. And so now Uncle Dougie is now Noah. Tanya says, exactly, Amy.
We'll have to let you know about church here tomorrow. As I said, I know Beth is stuck where she's at. She's not going anywhere. So we'll see what we do for tomorrow night. Last Sunday, we had a horrible storm that ended right after church would have been over. I actually did a live stream just here with myself. That's interesting.
Like the dogs could have kept you, they could have lined up like the congregation.
But this is a good thing. I did a Grandpa Boston sermon.
Yes, it was great.
I may do that again tomorrow morning because Old Union didn't get to hear that.
No?
So you might get to hear the Grandpa Boston sermon live.
Outstanding.
So until we see you all again, say goodnight, Amy.
Good night, Amy.
We love you, and go out and do
The right thing.